from NBC News, Newscene, a daily wrap-up of today's top stories. Tonight, Valentine's Day, the Aftermath, Day 4. Now, here is Terry Franklin.
Good evening and welcome to Newscene. This is Valentine's Day, the Aftermath, Day 4, and reports of raging disputes and scattered fighting are still pouring in from around the country. Once again, men failed to grasp the importance of Valentine's Day, often with tragic results. In Arlington, Mrs. Catherine Stenby demolished this house when she discovered the flowers she had been given were purchased at Safeway. The standoff continues in Snohomish, where police are trying to end the rampage of Mrs. Helen Dockendorf, whose husband said her Valentine's gift was a set of really expensive new tires for the van. And the entire female population of Duval has gone on strike and will not declare Valentine's Day over until their demands are met. The demands include complete and undivided attention during a 24-hour period, flowers of a rose variety or a hybrid with rose-like tendencies delivered to her workplace so everyone else can see what she got, and jewelry from a store that is not just a section of a larger establishment that also sells meat products. We'll have more coverage on that situation as it develops. Now, you may have read the story that appeared in the PI this week claiming that the male brain and female brain are wired differently. Now, for an in-depth analysis of this report, we turn now to Dr. Kimberly Cranston. Welcome, Dr. Cranston.
Well, thanks, Terry. And let me start out by saying that I don't normally read the PI, but I was homesick that day and had gotten pretty damn bored.
Okay, I understand. Now, what about this whole male-female brain difference?
Well, it is true, and there are major differences between the male and female brain, and never are these differences more apparent than on Valentine's Day. Let me explain. Now, as you can see, the female brain devotes 8% of its brain space to the date of February 14th. And this percentage remains constant 364 days of the year. Now, here's the tricky part. On the 365th day, Valentine's Day, that 8% actually enlarges in size to a full 98%.
Well, kind of like when you put a dry sponge into water?
Exactly.
Okay.
It expands. Now, that 90% increase isn't newly created brain space. It's borrowed brain space from other areas, such as the "my butt is too big" area. And the "don't lie to me," is this one here? "Don't lie to me, I saw you looking at her" area.
I see. Incredible.
And that's just the female brain. Now, bring the male brain into the picture and we have a recipe for disaster. You see, the male brain devotes only 1/365th of its brain space to thinking about February 14th. And even then only as the day after February 13th. So, as a result, when Valentine's Day arrives and the male is woken up with the question, "Honey, do you know what day it is?" that portion of his brain literally explodes, sending an all-systems alert message to every cell in his body.
And that message is?
Run, man, for God's sake, run.
I see. That's very fascinating. Now, if you could stay with us for a moment.
Certainly.
We have a couple with us who is joining us via satellite, and they are experiencing lingering Valentine's Day problems. Now, this is Mike and Sandy Hoberson. Now, Mike, I understand this is the third year in a row that you've blown it. Is that right?
Okay. In '93, I got her flowers.
He got me seeds.
Okay. Last year, I gave her the one thing she talked about all the time.
He got me a membership to Jenny Craig.
All right, okay. So this year, I took her to a romantic dinner at the Space Needle. I hired the Goodyear blimp to fly by, flashing, "Sandy, I love you." And then I had the waiter deliver a diamond ring in her chocolate mousse.
You didn't get me a card.
Your analysis, Dr. Cranston.
Well, my analysis is, Mike, you're hosed.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Doctor. Now, we've heard a lot of negative Valentine's Day experiences, and you may be wondering, hey, isn't there anyone who's made it through Valentine's Day without fighting? And for that answer, we go live now to reporter David Freeman, who is live on Capitol Hill. David?
Terry, after a long search, I have finally found a couple who say that their Valentine's Day was a happy one. Tell me, what made your Valentine's Day such a positive experience?
Oh, I'd say a lot of thought and pre-planning went into the event.
Oh, yes. I mean,
First thing that morning, he sent me flowers.
Oh, it was a beautiful bouquet, very light and airy.
Yes, and then that evening, he made a scrumptious dinner.
It was an Indian curry dish, and we had banana flambe for dessert. And
Excuse me, but who's telling the story here?
Well, excuse me, Mr. Camera Hog.
Oh, you're calling me a hog? I find that very interesting, considering that you ate way more than half of the banana flambe that was supposedly made for me.
Well, I thought you didn't want any more.
Did I really have a choice?
Well, of course you did.
Back to you, Terry.
All right, well, that's all for tonight. Be sure to join us tomorrow for Valentine's Day, the Aftermath, Day 5 on News Scene. Good night.